actually worked. There we go. Well, there's our jump for the day. So far, it's pretty easy out of the box to drive, just like the Raptor. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be doing our off-road review with the TRX. We're pretty much just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna show you guys a couple things that I have to do before I take the truck off-roading. And with all that being said, well, let's head out. Now, this is the first thing we have to do before going off-road, and that's fill the TRX up with gas. Now, before I get a comment from all the Ford fanboys, I had to do the exact same thing with the Raptor, so I don't want to hear it. The next thing is going to be airing down the tires. Now, I went 32 PSI, which some people that are a lot smarter than me told me that was probably a little bit too low. So we're going to try 36 this time, so we're going to go down from the 40s down to like 36 for the PSI. However, I'm not going to do it right here because it is extremely dusty and I don't want to get covered in dust, so I'm going to kind of climb up that mountain a little bit so that when it gets windy I don't get all dusty when I'm trying to air down the tires. Now, because I am a hilarious person, we are starting today's video on the exact trail that I broke down on 2 weeks ago. We've got the transmission temperature up right here so that we can monitor that. I don't think anything's gonna happen, like I said. And if you guys are wondering, the truck had that situation happen about 2,200 miles. I've got almost 3,000 miles on the truck, so the new transmission is more than broken in, and well, woo! No power cut this time. So this is gonna be our high-speed trail, as you guys can tell. And I am going to be making a ton of comparisons to the Raptor in today's off-roading review in terms of how this truck drives compared to the Raptor, because I owned a 2020 Raptor, did a ton of off-roading with it. Wow, I was not able to drive this fast with the Raptor on this trail, I can tell you that right now. The stability you get with the TRX is so much better. I think a huge part of that is not the shocks, but rather the coil suspension. It's got 5-link coil suspension versus the Raptor's, ooh, there we go, I got a little floating there, versus the Raptor's leaf springs. So everything is just smoothed out a lot more here in the TRX. And so on trails like this that, well, of course you can go really fast, you get a lot more stability with the TRX. We're gonna slow down to this little part right here. Ooh. Yeah, it still does kind of like the floating along the surface. I mean, that's going to be expected with any vehicle when you're traveling at a high speed on a dirt trail. The thing that I will mention though here with the TRX is it seems like it doesn't have as much side-to-side motion, and when it does kind of step out a little bit, as you guys have seen, it's pretty easy to control. Ooh, that was a pretty big gust. Looks like that was probably going to turn into a little dust devil right there. It's pretty windy today, if you guys are wondering. But yeah, so far, like, from a high-speed stability standpoint, I mean, you guys can see how fast I'm going, hopefully there on the camera. The TRX, it does better than the Raptor on high-speed stability with stuff like this, which I know that people are saying that they can drive this trail in their 1999 Honda Civic or whatever, but I dare you to go 90 miles an hour on this trail in your 1999 Honda Civic and make it out in one piece. This truck, wow. And if you guys are wondering, I ended up doing the tire PSI at about, let's see what it said at, 36. Yeah, I ended up doing 36 for all of them. 35, 36, depends on the temperature. But yeah, I mean, the truck does such a good job. And we just missed our trail. I always do that. This Baja mode's really good. Like, the gear shifts that they're doing and the Baja mode does in automatic mode is actually really solid. And this is a perfect day for off-roading, guys. And let's see our turning radius here with the TRX. I imagine it's gonna be a little bit worse compared to the Raptor on some of the trails, because two-wheel drive, it's easier to turn a truck than when it's in the four-wheel auto, and that's all this truck has. Yeah, turning radius is not bad. I'm just waiting for the dust to clear up a little bit for this next trail. There's a Toyota 4Runner that was just going down. I just want to make sure I've got good visibility in case there's anyone else coming down this trail, so that we don't have a scary head-on collision. Oh, I love this truck. The sounds. Whew. So controllable. Man, I was so wrong the first time I drove this truck. I feel like everything that I said about this truck in the first review, I feel like I was just wrong. And don't worry, Ram's not paying me. They probably hate me at this point because of the whole transmission situation. Oh, this is good. And the back end steps out just a little bit, but then you get grip, so then you can actually go at higher speeds than in the Raptor, in the two-wheel drive. Even in four-wheel, the Raptor's four-wheel auto, you guys know I don't like it because that system's very intrusive. Like, it feels like you get torque steer out of it because it sends so much power to the front wheels. Whereas the system here in the TRX, it sends enough to the back that you can still have fun, but it sends enough to the front that you still get some confidence coming into the corners here. I wish the RPMs were a little bit higher though. In the Baja mode, it's kind of keeping the RPMs low. It's kind of coasting. So one thing I've noticed with the truck in automatic mode, I tried to avoid a rock there, totally hit it. It was a little one though, it's not too bad. Whew. Getting some drifting here with the TRX. Ooh, I totally messed up there. You know what? I'm not the best driver, obviously. I kind of, I'll be honest, I kind of got nervous around that corner there a little bit because I'm still getting used to the truck. Remember, this is my first time actually pushing the truck on the off-road, so I still have to get familiar with the weight distribution and with the turn and just everything. But so far, it's pretty easy out of the box to drive, just like the Raptor. I'm actually driving faster on this trail than I normally would do with the Raptor, which that surprises me. You know, considering the weight and everything, I was kind of worried about that, but the truck actually hides the weight really well. Well, other than me embarrassing myself by hitting that corner completely wrong and missing the apex, the truck does a good job. So now this trail is gonna be kind of like a little bit of a climb. Nothing too crazy. Again, this is our first test with the TRX. This is just getting used to the truck, and if you're thinking about buying one of these trucks, this is kind of what I recommend doing, is something that is like this, where you're not really pushing the truck a massive amount. I love how people are biking up here. That's awesome. You go, Grandpa. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you want to do when you get a truck like this, is just to get a feel for it. You know, do some off-roading trails that have some level of difficulty, but this is going to be kind of like the bunny slopes of off-roading trails. If I were to kind of categorize it in terms of the difficulty. Man, it was like super muddy when we were here last time, and so on a lot of these trails, I got a lot more grip just because of the mud. Whereas now that it's dry, I mean, this is all like hard packed clay, and so it's kind of it's almost like pavement in a way once it gets hard packed like this, especially in a place like this that's definitely higher traffic. The shocks do a really good job. I love this coil suspension though versus the leaf springs. Like, just how it smooths everything out, it makes it a lot more livable, really. Like, I feel like I'm able to go faster just because my spine is not getting completely destroyed. Wow, some of these ruts are really deep. Ooh. I love, it has so much torque. Like, you never get in a situation where you're like, oh no, not enough power. Yeah, and look at that, the ground clearance, like, we kind of bounced a little bit there, nothing too wild, and the ground clearance on this is so good that you don't have to really worry about bottoming out or anything like that. And I think having the tires at this PSI have also helped a little bit. I'm gonna shut up for a second so you guys can kind of just watch the idiot TRX driver figure this out. Yeah, the shocks are soaking up everything so well. Like, the truck's doing such a good job on this trail. Again, I feel like in the Raptor I'd be going a little bit slower just because the back end would be bouncing all over the place. Oh, looks like we got people coming up here, so I'm gonna pull off to the side. Well, now that we let those people by, let's kind of continue along the trail here. Yeah, and how much this truck flexes too, it's so good. Like, it actually gives you a lot of confidence just because of how much the truck actually flexes. It's really good. Yeah, I'm impressed. I am very, very impressed with the truck. And it looks like I might have to air down the tires a little bit more. It's getting a little bit hotter in the day, and they're popping back up. We got 38, 37, 37. because I'm starting to feel a little bit of harshness with the tires, and so I'm probably gonna air them down just again a little bit, not too much, but a little bit after this trail, just so that I can get a little bit of a more compliant ride. But yeah, so far, yeah, this is solid. And I'm gonna shut up again so you guys can kind of just watch this all happen. Yeah, I definitely love how much it flexes. It flexes way better than the Raptor. Like, I think a good example is kind of the Raptor. The back end will kind of be a little bit shaky. This, it just does it. It just flexes, and you don't really notice it, whereas you notice it in the Raptor. I think that's kind of the biggest difference with the TRX. And yeah, I'm surprised, especially on such a narrow trail like that. I'm surprised that I was able to go that quick through all of that. And the truck was handling it just fine. I mean, it's a huge truck. You guys know that's 6,300 pounds. Yeah, this thing is good. I'm gonna air down the tires here now. I'll be back with you guys in a second. Well, this is gonna be our last little trail before summing things up. And don't worry, I'm also filming an off-road POV today. So watch out for that, guys. That'll probably post a few days after this initial video posts, and that's gonna be pretty much no talking. There'll be very minimal talking in that video, and I'll be going down one of my favorite trails, which is like a pretty high-speed trail that for most of the trail you can hit, you know, you can go about 50, sometimes 60 miles an hour. The trail is kind of been beat up over the last little bit because so many people use it now after my videos. But yeah, we'll kind of have that, and I want to see how it, yeah, so good. Holy crap. Woo. Not gonna be doing any jumping for a little bit in the TRX. Again, gotta get a better feel for the truck, but just kind of like how it comes down into this, it's so good. Like, it does so good. It's crazy. And I mean, there's a couple of these that you might bottom out a little bit with on the shocks with the TRX, but I mean, for the most part, coming into these, it's like the front end, like, it's got so much clearance that it's pretty good. It'd be pretty difficult to actually end up like fully bottoming out and like scraping the front end. And I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, if you do, I know some people feel bad about that because it's a $100,000 truck. It's got a skid plate on the front end for a reason. So worst case scenario, you just replace the front skid plate if you if you end up bending it. So yeah, not a huge deal whatsoever. But the ground clearance out of the bag, really good. And these like whoops and everything, whatever you want to call them, they really show it. So I guess let's sum things up with my initial impressions. And again, we'll be getting tons more videos here with the TRX on the off-road, doing more difficult trails. I might actually do some rock climbing for the first time, or rock crawling for the first time ever. I didn't really do that with the Raptor. Yeah, it handles it so, the whoops, it handles them so well. Is this better than the Raptor? Objectively, and this is coming from someone who's owned a Raptor and who is going to buy the 2021 Raptor for the channel, so it's not like I have any bias towards Ram. I have bias towards whoever makes the coolest truck. So it's faster than the Raptor, it's smoother along pretty much everything here on the off-road than the Raptor. Confidence, I feel, is about the same, just different. This has more confidence because the four-wheel auto system is way better than the Raptor's. It sends torque to the back when you need it, and then it sends torque to the front when you need it, and it's not intrusive with the steering wheel. Like the Raptor, just so you guys know, when you're in four-wheel auto, the steering wheel like almost yanks to the side. I totally press the button. Seriously though, the steering wheel like yanks to the side very hard. This doesn't do that. It's very like gradual, so it makes it so you have a little bit more confidence. And I feel like it works with its weight very well. It is a heavy truck for sure. It's 6,300 pounds, whereas the Raptor is 5,600 pounds. But the extra power makes up for that. The suspension, the 5-link coil suspension, the back smooths things out, and the four-wheel drive, with the four-wheel drive system and everything. So it actually gives me just as much confidence, if not a little bit more confidence, than the Raptor. On a lot of those trails now, actually like taking this out for the second time, I was going faster in this truck than I was in the Raptor, just to give you guys an idea. So I definitely think, like, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about the TRX when I did my initial impressions about the truck. It's a lot more capable than I kind of expected. They've done something crazy here. They've managed to make a 700 horsepower, super heavy front engine truck work on the off-road. And so, yeah, I mean, if you own a Raptor right now and you're kind of like on the fence with the TRX, here's the things that I have to say is, like, yes, on road you'll get a little bit worse fuel economy, but it's going to be smoother on road. And the power is addicting. The sound is way better than the Raptor. And off road, it's just as capable as the Raptor. It feels just as capable, feels just as nice to drive. But the biggest difference is you're gonna have a nicer sound. You're gonna have so much power that it's more than you even need. So I don't know. I think, like, if I was, and this is why I bought this, like, if I was someone that had a Raptor and I was thinking about buying TRX, I would just go for it at this point, while they still make them, because we'll see what happens if they're even allowed to still make Hellcat trucks like this in the next few years. Now, that is going to sum things up for our off-roading review here with the TRX, and I just wanted to show you guys. I mean, like, we did some kind of off-roading today. Got a little bit of flex happening in the back. Just to give you guys like an idea of how good the flex is on this. This same little thing with the Raptor, the wheel have been tucked under pretty far, whereas the TRX, I mean, it's not even trying.